my name is Julia Shields, and today I'm going to be talking about why Columbus Day should be switched to Indigenous Peoples Day. For hundreds of years, the narrative in America has been that Christopher Columbus discovered the New World in 1492 and that he should be honored and commemorated and celebrated for his bravery and leadership and his discovery and his leadership in these findings of discovering America. This is wrong and harmful actually to many people because he was not the first one to find America, and there was actually many people here before he even arrived, and he treated the people who were here already very unfairly and unjustly and inhumanely, and the crimes he committed against them should not be celebrated. Columbus Day should be replaced with Indigenous People Day to honor the culture and heritage of those who lived on this land first, and to acknowledge the unjust treatment of Native Americans by the early settlers, Christopher Columbus, and the American government all throughout history. Christopher Columbus landed on some islands in 1492 thinking he had found Japan and the Indies, when in reality he had landed in modern-day Dominican Republic and Haiti and the Bahamas. Right away when he went out onto these islands, he was met with some of the native people, and immediately he captured a few of them and brought them back with him to Italy as his captives without any reason at all. When he brought them back, he went to boast about his findings of a new land that had tobacco, and when he returned to the New World, he was immediately met with resistance from some of the native people, naturally, as it was their land, and Columbus's response was to capture them and sell them into the slave market. A journal discussing the life of Columbus says, "In the short space of 4 years since the coming of the Europeans, a flourishing indigenous population had been decimated by exploitation, massacre, disease, and famine. The Europeans invaded the land and wiped out many people of the indigenous people groups without any care for their humanity. They made treaties and broke them. They fought with them, they destroyed their land, and they destroyed their homes. And all of this is very unjust and is a crime against humanity." An article posted by UPenn says that Indigenous people have had their land stolen, people slaughtered, enslaved, and infected with diseases, women raped, children kidnapped, treaties broken, and possessions and goods plundered and looted. The ideology of praising Christopher Columbus for the New World and for the early settlement of America actually is a promotion of white supremacy and a celebration of this ideology as a whole. It discredits the culture of indigenous people groups and also denies the atrocities that they had to face because of the early settlers. White supremacy being celebrated, and it also celebrates the tragedies and traumas that the indigenous people had to face. Celebrating Columbus Day is very problematic, and it encourages this white supremacist ideology as a whole because the early settlers were white Europeans who just came into this land and trampled over people groups thinking that they were the better ranking humans, and this is the epitome of white supremacy. It also celebrates oppression and invasion of land and the atrocious acts performed against these native people. As a solution, the holiday Columbus Day should be changed entirely to Indigenous Peoples Day to celebrate the culture and history of Indigenous people in America. Some states and cities have already started to recognize Indigenous Peoples Day, but Columbus Day is still very widely celebrated. But if Indigenous Peoples Day became a holiday, it would be to commemorate and celebrate the heritage of Indigenous people and to remember what they experienced and to honor them for their fight throughout all of history. This year, there has been a lot of light shed on racism and injustices in this country, and a lot of people's response to this racism and division has been to tear down and vandalize statues of so-called heroes throughout history, such as Christopher Columbus or possibly other war heroes from the Civil War that fought for the South that have been honored but have actually been really harmful to different people groups. There has been a lot of vandalism and tearing down, and at least 33 statues of Christopher Columbus in the US have been torn down just this year. And for the most part, this has been a response to the murder of George Floyd back in May in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Here is a photo of some of the vandalism of a statue of Christopher Columbus. It says, "Stop celebrating genocide." They're very clearly upset about what Christopher Columbus has done, rightfully so. And here's another photo of some workers removing a Christopher Columbus statue. While violence and vandalism is not a solution, it's still important for us to acknowledge the anger and hurt of people groups who have been oppressed for so long. We need to recognize why they're responding like this and try to listen to them and empathize, because obviously they're still experiencing oppression and hurt, and are still upset about things that have happened or things that are happening. And it's our job to not be a bystander and to listen and acknowledge and ask ourselves, why are they being violent? Why are they vandalizing? Why are they speaking out? What can we do better? What needs to change? It's important to remove statues that honor so-called heroes that have brought harm to different people groups. It's a concern for some people that taking away Columbus Day and taking away these statues of these figures throughout history will erase history or make people forget. And I believe that it's still very important to teach about Columbus and know who he was and what he did. And we can recognize his accomplishments and the good things he did. But it's also necessary to understand the injustices and atrocities that have happened, and we don't need to celebrate it. But we do need to acknowledge it and learn about it and be informed. In an attempt to stand in solidarity with Indigenous people groups, it's important to take action and work to no longer honor and celebrate Columbus for the atrocities that he did. And to take action, one way is to join the Abolish Columbus Day campaign with www.zinnedproject.com/abolish. Another way is to call councilmen and councilwomen in your district. It's also very important to read and inform yourself. So much of history has been whitewashed, and for many years I viewed Columbus as a hero because I had no clue of the atrocities that he did. To ignore injustices and disregard traumatic events that partially dismantle different people groups is to deny humanity and to promote inequality. Changing this holiday is a simple change, but it can change people's mindsets. And if the celebration of harmful individuals is put to a halt, then the ideology of unjust treatment of humans, white supremacy, and racism as a whole will hopefully begin to be eradicated. Thank you.